My name is Dimitri Papamihal and I am an invited lecturer at the Agriculture Faculty, Fan Stylianoli University, Korç, Albania. I am presenting today a two-year study named Predicting the Diameters and the Mass of Golden Delicious Apple Fruits using Growing Degree Days. Production of fresh apples is becoming a very important income source for many farmers of northeastern and southeastern parts of Albania. In order to reach foreign markets, apples should comply with international standards, and among others, fruit equatorial diameters and mass are important requirements. A number of studies in different countries have shown that these two parameters can be predicted well in advance, so apple growers can benefit by adjusting the agrotechniques employed in orchards to have most of fruits within a desirable size range. Scientific studies have shown that apple fruit growth in commercial orchards follows an exponential curvilinear pattern. During the first 3 to 5 weeks, the growth is exponential and characterized by cell division only. For the rest of the period up to harvest, the growth is curvilinear, where cells are expanded only. Mathematically, apple fruit growth has been expressed in the form of polynomial, logistic, and logarithmic regression equations, where days after fruit bloom or growing degree days have been used as independent variables and fruit diameters or mass as the dependent ones. Information on these matters is very limited in Albania, and taking that into consideration, a study was carried out in Korç area, Albania, with golden delicious apples during 2 consecutive growing seasons, year 2012 and year 2013. The study was performed with 12-year-old golden delicious apple trees grafted on MN 106 rootstock at a density of 1,250 trees per hectare in an orchard in Progr commune, Devoll District, Albania. Trees were trained to a slender spindle form, hand thin, within 40 to 50 days to have a density of 6 to 6.4 fruits of square centimeters of trunk cross-sectional area, drip irrigated and fertigated based on water and nutritional requirements, plant protection in accordance with integrated pest management principles, and no soil tillage practiced against weeds, so herbicides used instead. To make the measurement of fruit diameters, 5 apple trees were randomly selected in early 2012, having a very similar vigour to each other, and same trees were used for measurements in 2013 fruits as well. At 40 days after fruit bloom, in each tree, at a 1 to 2 meters height from soil, 40 fruits were randomly selected and tagged from outer to inner part of the canopy in each cardinal direction. The fruits' equatorial and longitudinal diameters were measured with an electronic caliber of 0.01 mm precision, and data were entered in an Excel spreadsheet. Each fruit was measured 17 times, once per week, starting from 40 days after fruit bloom until harvest, 152 days after full bloom. To select the equation that best describes the relationship between each diameter growth and growing degree days, 3 regression models were compared: linear, quadratic, and cubic. Based on that outcome, predictive tables on equatorial and longitudinal diameters and fruit mass with respect to accumulated growing degree days have to be prepared. All data recorded and processed with Minitab 16.1 statistical software with a 95% significant level. The first measurement made at 40 days after full bloom showed that there was a significant difference between equatorial and longitudinal diameters in 2012 and 2013, despite the fact that each year had a normal bloom and similar flowers load per tree. Equatorial and longitudinal diameter groups, number of fruits per growth, and their average diameters are shown in Table 1 and 2. The difference in both fruits diameters at 40 days after full bloom can be explained by the significant gap between yearly growing degree days accumulated from the day of full bloom to 40 days after full bloom. In year 2012, during that period, 158 were accumulated as growing degree days, in contrast with 264 growing degree days accumulated in 2013, thus a difference of 106 Celsius degree. The role of early season temperatures in apple growth and maturity was documented in the work of Berg 1990, Warrington et al. 1999, and other authors. A comparison of 3 models, linear, quadratic, and cubic, showed that the quadratic regression equation was the best model in describing the relationship between each equatorial and longitudinal group growth and the accumulated growing degree days. That model provided the highest coefficient of determination and the lowest residual standard deviation. Table 3 shows the regression equation of equatorial diameters and longitudinal diameters in both years. Using the content of Table 3 in previous table, a predictive table for the diameters growth was prepared, using different accumulated growing degree days during growing season as independent variables, starting from 40 days after full bloom to 1,350 growing degree days. This is shown in table number 4. Figures from table number 4 show that fruits of small diameter groups grew less than the bigger ones, and the gap between each equatorial and longitudinal diameter groups widened from 40 days after full bloom to harvest, as shown in graph 1. This is in line with outcomes of same meta studies in other countries. Using the final equatorial and longitudinal diameters as independent variables and fruit mass at harvest as a dependent variable, a predictive table of apple fruit mass was prepared through multiple regression equations. These equations provided a very high accuracy in estimating fruit mass, and an absolute error was less than 1 gram per fruit. Conclusions. The quadratic regression equation was the best fit in expressing most accurately the relationship between equatorial and longitudinal diameter growth and the accumulated growing degree days. A high correlation between the diameters of apples and accumulated growing degree days was found. Multiple regression equation with equatorial and longitudinal diameters provided high prediction accuracy in respect to fruit mass. These results suggest that it is possible to construct prediction tables of apple size and mass. However, this table should be taken as a general guide that must be adjusted to the specific conditions of accumulated growing degree days, soil fertility, climate, agrotechnical measures, fruit load, cultivar, and any other specific conditions related to the orchard. Thank you for your attention.